This might be one of the most important chapters in the New Testament for understanding the gospel and for understanding who you are. If you've ever felt like you're not good enough for God, if religion has ever weighed you down with guilt and pressure, Paul is about to rip the weight of religion off your shoulders and place it with freedom in Jesus. We're going through Ephesians 2, verse by verse, starting with who we were before Jesus. Paul starts with the blunt reality, and you were dead in the trespasses and sins. Not spiritually sick, not spiritually confused, not spiritually searching, dead. The Greek word Paul uses is nekros. It means a literal corpse. No life, no ability to respond, no desire to reach for God. In Romans 3, 10 and 11, it says, "None is righteous. No, not one. No one understands. No one seeks for God." People say, "I found God," but spiritually, dead people don't find anything. God found us. Dead means there was no spiritual hope in us at all. Jesus didn't come to help us improve. He came to resurrect the dead. Paul is writing to Christians in Ephesus. Temple prostitution was normal. Sorcery and magic spells were everywhere. Acts 19 tells us that when people got saved, they burned books of magic worth 50,000 pieces of silver. That's $1 million in today's value. This wasn't a morally neutral place. It was spiritually dark. Everyone starts in the same condition, whether their sin looks religious or rebellious. Paul continues, following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air. We thought we were independent thinkers, but we were followers, following a world system that was controlled by Satan. 2 Corinthians 4:4 says, "The God of this world has blinded the minds of the unbelievers." Without Jesus, we simply drift with culture. We soak in its values, its priorities, its identity. There's only two spiritual directions: follow Christ or follow the world and its ruler. There is no middle, no spiritually neutral path. Paul adds, "We all once lived in the passions of our flesh and were by nature children of wrath like the rest of mankind. We weren't sinners because we sinned. We sinned because we were sinners by nature. From birth, not after making a few bad choices." Psalms 51:5 says, "I was brought forth in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me." Every person is born spiritually dead and on a path toward wrath, the righteous judgment of God. And notice Paul says, we all once lived this way. Good homes and broken homes, church kids and atheists, moral kids and criminals. Everyone needs a rescue. There are no good people who need a little help. There are only dead people who need a resurrection. So, before Jesus, we were dead in sin, controlled by darkness, corrupted by our nature, deserving of wrath, totally unable to save ourselves. Self-salvation is impossible. This is the truth the world hates, but it is the truth that makes grace make sense. But then Paul, he gives us the greatest shift in the universe. But God being rich in mercy, because of the great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace, you have been saved. Not, but you improved, but you finally behaved, but you earned it. But God stepped in, rich in mercy, great in love, moving toward us while we were dead. Romans 5:8 says, "But God showed his love for us, in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Jesus didn't die for the cleaned up version of you. He died for the dead you. He didn't wait for us to rise to him. He rised us to himself. He didn't tell us to climb. He came down to save. He didn't make bad people good. He made dead people alive. This is not God plus effort, God plus your progress, God plus your performance. This is God alone. For by grace you have been saved. Saved, past tense. Already done. By his work, not yours. If God loved you when you were dead, his love doesn't depend on you now. Your salvation is not based on your hold on God. It's based on God's hold on you. Jesus doesn't give partial life. He gives eternal life. This is the foundation of the gospel. We were dead, but God made us alive. If you understand this, grace becomes a weapon against shame, fear, and religion. But there's a question. If we were saved by grace, can we lose it by messing up? Does work keeps us saved? Paul answers that directly in verses 6 through 10, and it will destroy the performance-based religion forever. If you're ready for part 2, comment part 2 and make sure to follow so you don't miss the next message of grace, because Ephesians 2, 8 through 9 may be the most freeing truth you've ever heard.